Hello, hello, and welcome to episode number 177 of Pro NoCoders Office Hours. I'm your host, Tonya, and I'm here with members Ben and Thomas and Mike Kim, and we're going to get started in just a moment. But first, I want to let you in on what Office Hours is all about. Essentially, we at Pro NoCoders have an Office Hours subscription for $99 per month. You get access to all of our sessions, and what that means is every day, every weekday, we have at least one office hours session for at least an hour, and you can come in and ask any bubble question that you want, and we will try to get it answered the best we know how. We can't promise to always have the answers because no one has all of the answers, but I do have backup. I'm pretty much here every office hours session, but the Pro NoCoders team actually includes Pablo and Eli, who are both better bubblers than I am. And so when I get stuck, I can always go to them and get you help. So if you would like to join Pro NoCoders office hours subscription, go to pronocoders.com. Again, the cost is only $99 per month, and you get 6 sessions per week where you can ask any bubble questions that you want. And beware, the price will be going up on New Year's. We are going to raise the price to $119 per month. So if you want that $20 off, you have to sign up before the first of the year. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started here. Jay and Callum, I saw you just joined. How's it going?
Well, good.
Good. Yes. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was right. Formula One was a bit messy, but yeah, it was good. But good news today. My man got made Time Magazine Man of the Year.
Oh, nice. Nice. Awesome. So we're going to start with Ben, who has questions. Jay, do you have questions?
I really don't.
And how about you, Callum? Do you have any for today?
Only the same one as before with how to... I did speak to Gaurav and he said there's no way to put it through. So I've realised that you can... So I'll share my screen and show you.
Actually, we'll start with Ben first and then we can come back.
Oh, sorry. Did you say Ben? Sorry, apologies.
Yep, that's okay. I was just asking if you had questions for later, so I know who to ask. Ben, you're up. You got up so early to join us. Oh, Ben, are you still here?
He's napping.
So early, he's fallen asleep.
He fell back to sleep.
Yeah, I did. I fell back to sleep.
We're going to give you coffee or Red Bull or something.
This is going to be a quick win for you, I'm sure. It's just one of those things that I can't figure out super easily. So I had this kind of talent sign-up form, and what I realized, it was just absolutely massive. So what I'm trying to do is make it like a multi-step. And what the workflow would be on going next, but then saving all the data. Like, do I do it via states, or what's the best practice there?
Actually, what I would do is I would have different groups, but which is what you have. Okay. Yep. So you have different groups in the same pop-up. And then I would have a probably either a state or a URL parameter. And then each group would be shown when that either the URL parameter or the custom state is set to a specific number. So your first one would be when that custom state equals 1, and the second one would be when it equals 2, and the third one when it equals 3. And then the next button would just add the current state, add 1 to the current state, right? Because if you have the state or the URL parameter set as a number, then you can just add 1 to it. And then if you had a back button, you could subtract 1 from it. We actually have this going on in an app right now that I can show you if you want.
Yeah, please. That'd be great.
Thomas, you don't mind if I share it, right?
Cool, no problem.
Cool. So we have started doing this instead of going back to bubble each time. So in our assessment function, what we have is we have 3 different groups. Ours is on the page, but the same rules apply. So we have 1, and when the URL parameter is 1, this group is showing.
Mhm.
and then the same 2 and 3. And then what we do on each of these buttons is we move. This one has several stages beforehand before it moves to the third one, but
Mhm.
that's how we've constructed it. So on this button here, when we click Save Changes, actually when we click New Assessment, we create a new assessment, then we set the parameter to group equals 1.
Mhm.
And then when I click the Save Changes button, we set it to group equals 2, and that's what.
Does that actually save changes, or does it just keep them on that state?
Yeah, it changes this. It saves the changes to the
Oh, it does.
assessment here.
It does save the changes. Okay.
Yep. And then the next button, when we have this one, we have to actually have a do when to do the setting of the group. And what we're looking for is when they click the next button, it changes which question we're on. And so we have to use a do when function to change it. Here, it'll be easier if I just show you what we're doing and explain it, I think, from the preview. So I click here and it creates the new assessment. I can change the name and the date and description. So when I click this button, it changed that URL parameter. Now I'm going to click this button. It's going to change this to 2. So this group will disappear and group 2 will show. So why is it doing that? Okay. So now group 2 is showing. And then I can go through here and it is using a custom state to keep track of which question I'm on.
Gotcha. That's cool.
And then what I do is when I get to the end here, which is after this question, when I click this button, what's going to happen is this condition will become true. So when the question number is greater than the number of questions there are, then it's going to go ahead and display. And I actually think I don't need that one, but this is the big one. It's going to change it to group 3 because I'll be done answering the questions and I'll want my results. So I click here, and so it hides that group and shows me the results. So,
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
and don't mind the ugly prototype. Thomas is making it beautiful on another page.
Oh, I was so judging you for that. No.
Well, I mean,
Cool. Okay, so it does save changes on each button press. Is that correct?
yes, I am saving the changes on each button. So which you don't necessarily have to do, right? You could just save them in a series of custom states or something. But in our case, what we're trying to do here is if I go back, I need to know what was answered.
Yeah.
In order to show what was answered. But if you don't need them to ever go back, then you could save them. You could wait until the end to save it if you wanted.
I think for one extra workflow, it's a good idea. Like for them to be able to go back and change them without having to redo the whole form is probably a good idea. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And this way, what I did on this one to make it so that it's showing the actual answer that they did is in here. I have a conditional here. So when the assessment answer is current cell's answer, because I'm keeping track of the answer for when I click the next button, I said when I click here, it puts the answer that I clicked into this custom state. And when I click here, it saves that answer to the thing in the database.
Cool.
But when I come back to it, I also have to say, well, if I look for all of my questions and the answer to this one is the current cell's answer, then I make it bold so that when I come back, it's also showing what was answered, the saved answer. So
cool. Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. I think Jay, you said no.
I'm sorry, I have nothing.
You have, that's okay, no worries. Callum, you're up.
Awesome. Cool. Right in the middle of doing something, which means my screen is just frozen. Yeah, it's completely frozen. Thanks, Bubble. There we go. Let me just share my screen then. So it was the same thing we were talking about before with with ranking the images. So with getting the images. So if I preview this. This may take a while.
I was going to compliment you on how beautiful it is.
Oh, thank you. Oh God, I'm not even signed in. Jesus. Okay. Not even my English. So when we do write a post, so the whole BDK thing, he said it doesn't return. I just find. Oh, he just messaged me. Okay. So if I just find, say, these three images, it does know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So when I click add, I can still see what those files are. So I'm not sure at what point. Oh, why can't I click run? At what point it doesn't know what they are, if you know what I mean? Because obviously we don't because it's the .png or .whatever. I've got a UI problem, which means I can't save it now. But I'm just trying to work out how to get those URLs from the plugin, I guess, before it saves. So if I go to write a post. So what's it? It's the widget, isn't it? Started it worked on that. And then make changes to a post. Just select a random thing. So say. I wonder whether I can access the widget. No. Oh yeah, upload widget. There we go. File names.
There you go.
Okay, so if I select file, and I guess I can just test this right now, but if I save that as a list of file names, will it list those file names in the same order that the files are stored?
I have no idea.
And okay, follow-up question. Even if it does, how can I then link a list of file names or the order those file names are in to what should show on a page? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm trying to do, right? Where I've got the picture and image and video element. I need to show one or the other depending on what the file name is with the file extension, right?
No, show me again. So like I remember it was something about what we were doing, but a refresher. Put it in context.
Yeah, cool. So under post here, I've got media, and then that's how I'm displaying it. So I've got two elements in the main one. One is a video element, and my God, I've got a lot of groups there. God knows why. So I've got a video element, which is parent group's file, and I've got an image element, which is parent group's file. Now, obviously, the issue comes when I've currently got the image element over the top of the video element, which is fine because the image element is
right.
invisible.
You're trying to hide and show groups based on their file extension.
Yeah, but I'm not, obviously here I'm going to know parent group's file, which is what I'm going to need to show, but I'm somehow going to need to know based on, let's just assume, for example, that the bubble will save, say 5 images or 5 files, 1 through 5, and then it'll also save file names 1 through 5, and it will save them in the correct order. How can I use the list of file names to determine whether or not to show something here? Because I need to be
is
showing.
it just, I mean, in the file names that you do have access to natively with this, is it just the file extension that's missing?
No, remember it's the upload care URL one, that random weird
The
one that we
random
looked at.
one, okay.
Because we're closer, because we now know we can now get the file name.
So
and
yeah,
we-
it's,
yeah.
I mean, so this is just going to be testing, right? So like I
Mhm.
would just make a test page and use the uploader and use those file names and just see if they're stored in the same order.
Okay, all right, I'll do that.
Because Bubble is, whereas what you're talking about doing is pretty inherent to like JavaScript and other coding languages. For some reason, Bubble managing list order is not as obvious.
I mean, you would think it would save. I mean, given that it's saving
I
the
would
same
think that they
thing.
would save them in the same order. I would, but I would test it
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
So okay, so even if that is correct and it does save them in the same order, how do I then influence the order in which stuff shows up? Because it won't be referring to file; it will be referring to a different list of things, won't it?
Right. So these are all being stored in their own, they're all being stored in a list. They're not being stored in a separate file type. Could you store it in a
Correct.
separate file type?
So no, because I then have to create multiple things from because upload care creates
mean,
a
you
list of
could.
files.
You
But
could,
how-
because you could.
If I have a
do
list of files, how do I split it out into say 5 separate
recursive
files?
workflow in the backend. It's
Where's the
okay.
answer, isn't
It's
it?
not a dirty word.
It is.
Recursive. Recursive is
privacy
a
rules.
beautiful word.
It's also
Like-
dirty as privacy rules.
No,
Okay.
no, we like recursive workflows. It allows us to do amazing things. So you could save the list of the URLs or whatever and the list of the file names in the file type where you're already saving them. Then you could run a recursive workflow in the back end and separate them out and save, like if the order of the list is the same, which is our hypothesis that we still have to test, then you could run recursively and create however many things you need to for each one and save the file type on each thing.
Okay, I have found new information about the file name thing. I'm going to test that. I'm going to test it, does it in the same order, and then we can loop back to this if we have time in a bit to do that recursive thing, if that's right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yep. Welcome, Fabio.
Hi there.
How's it going?
It's going well. How you doing?
Good. Do you have any questions for me today?
I do. Hold on a second. Let me pull up my list.
Sure.
I accumulated a list of questions over the weekend. Okay, I have an easy one, or should be an easy one for you guys,
Sure. Let's
but
do it.
pretty difficult for us. How can I make a drop-down menu editable or dynamic, if you will? By that I mean, I would love to give the user the ability to not only select from a pre-selected number of options when they click on the drop-down menu, but also give them the ability to enter their own options.
Okay. And these
yeah.
are options that only they will see, right?
That is
Like it-
correct, yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you have access to what's been typed in the drop down as an input. Let's test that. Let's play around with that. Because you might just have to use one of the drop down plugins for this. I'm sure there's got to be one. I've heard this question multiple times. So
Hmm.
I know somebody has solved it. Has anybody here ever solved this question?
No.
What's the question again?
The question is having a drop down of pre-made options from the app, but then allowing the client to make their own as well.
I guess
Mm,
you put a modifier in the database that says like user created, system created, and then have them be able to add their own thing. It's the database and that displays in the dropdown.
Yeah,
I've probably
so
said that all wonky.
So if I have a drop down here, and I'm going to make this dynamic choices, and let's see if I have any option sets to use.
So why don't you just do surely when you create a user account, why don't you just create a list which has the preset options and then a space to add or remove other options, and then they'll show up in the drop down.
Right, you could do that totally. I'm just trying to see if it's possible to do it in the same drop down. But Fabio, does it matter if it's in the same drop down to you or no?
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be in the same drop down.
I mean, does it matter like if I don't see the option here and I have another input to add my option, but then they can see it here? Would that work? Or you're trying to do it all in one?
I'm trying to do it all in one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's where I was going with it. So let's just try here. Let's try this. Drop down choices. Oh, S, and then we'll do choice 1, choice 2, and choice 3. Okay, so now here I can do my drop down choices and all choices and just use their display. But I also want them to be able to select their own thing. I think the problem with this method is I won't be able to use option sets. So normally I would use option sets because they're going to be much faster for the drop down. But instead, what I'm going to have to do is create a thing in the database, and I'll call this drop down choices without the OS because it's not an option set. And then just create a name, which is a text. Go into app data, go to didn't I just create this thing called drop down? Oh, did I make it in the option sets? I did. That was silly of me. Drop down choices here. What I meant to do was in the data types, make drop down choices, and then in here, make a name, which is a text like that. And then in the app data, I can come here and create choice 1, choice 2, and choice 3. Okay, so then the other thing that I can do is on this data type, I can also add owner and make that a user field. So if it is one that you made, it won't have an owner. If it's one that the user made, then the user will be the owner. And then what we can do is we can use privacy rules and also constraints on our searches to make sure that something that I enter as a user doesn't show up then as a drop-down choice for another user. So you can come in here, drop down choices, define a new rule, owner, and say, so when this drop-down's owner is this user, current user. If you want, I'm trying to remember for Arbol specifically, your users that you're considering here are just individuals. They're not linked up together. Like there's not a group of users who would need to see the same options.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we can take this off. And we'll add another one called app admin and allow the app admin to see everything. So current users
Oh,
role
that's clever.
is app admin, and then they can see everything, right? So now there's two different kinds of users that can see a drop-down choice. The app admin can see everything, and the owner can see where they're the owner. Then we need one more rule and say logged in. By the way, I usually also add here and current user is logged in.
What is that thing after the current users and before role? Like on my screen, it just looks like a blue dot.
Huh? Oh, this?
Yeah.
That's an emoji.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to have
That's
joy.
an
joy in
icon
our
or whatever.
backends.
Yes. Yeah, Canvas does this so you can distinguish between Canvas created things versus app mode, the current developer's things. So is logged in and then is logged in. And then logged in will be when this drop down's owner is empty, and current user is logged in. Nope. Is logged in and current user. I just hit the wrong one. There we go. Is logged in. Okay, so now we have 3 roles. This one says the app admin can see anything. If they're logged in, they can see the drop-down choices where the owner is empty. And then if they are the owner, they can see their own. And this will make sure that you don't have it, because I was explaining to Nahum the other day, it was like, you're going to be dealing with some teenagers sometimes. The things that they write in, you don't want everybody else to see. So
Exactly.
yeah, so
this way there is no overlapping information, I guess, right?
well,
Like-
there is some overlapping information, because the person who's created their own options will also be able to see the app's options, which are those that don't have an owner. Right? So the
Yeah.
example here is I created these 3, but I didn't assign an owner. So that owner field is empty. Anybody who's logged in will be able to see these. Then when we give them the ability to create their own, they'll be able to see their own and these. And that way we won't have to worry about them seeing things that they shouldn't see.
Got it.
Following? Okay. So now we have this, we're going to change this to be the drop-down choices. That's not an option set. We'll do a search for all drop-down choices. We don't technically have to constrain these, right? So we can just leave it there, because the privacy rules will do the constraining for us. So we don't have to worry about it. Or we could filter it down. I think I'll just leave it for now. I won't worry about constraining it, because the privacy rules will do that. Maybe I should though, because sometimes it'll show that there is something, it just won't fill it in. So I'll constrain it here where owner is empty, or owner is empty, or owner equals current user. I think that'll work. We'll have to test this and make sure. And then the current options, we can do the name. Okay, so now we have a way where this will pull up all of the options available to that user. The question is, if I enter one here and it's not an option, if I enter this, can I use this as an input in addition to the dropdown? And that's the question that I don't know. So let's see. If I don't know if I can grab that as an input. I don't think I can. So if I hit the let's try. Value is change only when this drop downs. Yeah, because the drop down's value is going to be what's selected from the drop down. So I think what we're going to have to do is search for a plugin that will let us do what we're looking to do, or we could fake it and we could create a fake drop down using a focus group. So if I go to plugins, customizable. I think these are mostly focused on how the drop downs look on the page, as opposed to doing something fancy with it. All right. So let's do our own thing. We will start with an input. And we will use a focus group. The focus group wants to know what our reference is, and our reference is the input A. Then inside of the group focus, we're going to put a repeating group. And the repeating group is going to be of type dropdown choices, and we're going to do a search for dropdown choices, and then we'll filter that search where the owner equals the current user or the owner is empty. And we'll ignore empty constraints. All right, and then in the text here, we'll have the name of the dropdown choice. And then we will set a workflow on that. And let's make changes to a thing. For demonstration purposes, we'll make changes to the current user, and we'll make a field here, create a new field. Do you need a multi-select or just a single select?
Oh, good question. Single select. Select.
Okay, so down choice, and it will be of type drop down choice and not a list. And we'll say current cells drop down choice. And I should rename this because that's a terrible name. There. All right, and then when this input is not empty, then we want to show this drop down, right? So this one, the appearance here, the initial comment should be the current user's drop down choice. Name, and then what we can do here is when an input values changed, the element would be the input A. Then we want to not talk. Do we want to toggle the focus group or show the focus group? I think we will. I think it doesn't matter. Group focus A. We'll just see where we are. I don't think I'm actually logged in as a person at the moment. So go to users. Here. Gonna show. Nope, that didn't work. So we'll go back to the workflow. These values changed. Nope, still didn't work. Let's try a do when. When input A's value. Nope, still doesn't like it. Trying to think how we're going to communicate to it that we want this to show. I know, we'll use something called live text. So we'll make the element ID of this input A, and then we'll set this one to be input A. And then we'll make the thing here do when is true. Live text A value is not empty. Oh, and then I have to say show group focus. Okay, so it's showing. That's good, but it's not showing me the names, which I already have here. Choices name. So we have choice 1, 2, and 3. I'm wondering if it's this filter here. So I'll just remove the filter altogether and see if that works. So 1, 2, and 3. And I do this, and now it should be saved to the user. So if I refresh the page, choice 1 should be in there. Yeah, and it is. So that's good. So then if I change it, there we go. So the thing is, I also want to hide and reset this when I on this click. So are you following so far, Fabio? Like how we would get this done?
I think so.
Kind of, sort of.
I'm definitely gonna need to rewatch the session, but I see what you did.
Yep. And then the next part is going to be if I type something that's not here, like choice 50, right? So what am I going to do when this changes to choice 50? And so I have to figure out how to probably put a if they're only allowed one. Let's see here. Okay, so let's do this first part where we're going to hide it on this workflow. So hide group focus A, and I want to put this in a group. And on that same workflow, I want to reset the groups data. Okay, so that worked. It hid the one there and it reset it to be choice 3, so I didn't have to do the refresh. So that part's working. Now the part we have to solve for is if I change this to choice 30, it saves it here. But if I go into my database and I look at my current user and their choice, wherever it is, somewhere here it's saved. Drop down choice, where is it? There. Oh, it's just the search field is wrong. So drop down choice, save the name. So yeah, so you can see my choice is 3 and not 30, even though on this page it's saying choice 30. So then the question is, when an input value is changed and the input here is drop down input A, and we'll put here and do a search for drop down choice where the name equals input A's value. Count is less than 1. So when there's nothing named what they've decided to name that, then we're going to create a new drop-down choice where the name will equal input A's value. And then we will make the change to the current user. Drop-down choice will equal the result of step 1. So now if I preview this, it still says I have choice 3. I'm going to say 30, and then I'm going to come into the database, and now my drop-down choices include a choice 30. The one thing I didn't do is I didn't set here the owner. Should be current user. So let's go back here and delete this for a second. So I don't have a choice here. I click here and I start typing, but you want it to show even when I just click here as a drop down. So maybe what I do is I put an icon in here with a down arrow. So when I click that, it will show the choices. If I start typing anything, it'll show me this, and I can choose this. Oh, but it saved, it didn't save the one that I clicked. It saved what I typed in here. But yeah, this is what we have to debug to get it working. So, but do you have, I hope this is kind of like the approach is here. There's a few things is we can use some there is a plugin called mouse actions or something like that, mouse and keyboard actions, so that you can put the actual thing on an enter button, like if they type enter. So mouse and keyboard interactions, so you could control it when they click enter, then it would, and they happen to have that input focused, then it would do the action on that instead of on the button click, like what I just did. And then there's probably some other cool things, but I can't believe there's not a plugin for this already.
Hmm.
It seems like there should be. So I will also put this question to Eli and Pablo and see if they have any recommendations. That might be easier than what I'm talking about doing. But it seems like we should be able to get it working. We just have to debug this piece of it. And I'll put the icon in there.
Hey, Tanya, if we have additional questions, like can we I mean, can we mail them to you, or can we post them
Absolutely.
online?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can create, since you're an office hours member, one of the benefits of being an office hours member is we can create a private channel for just you and your team in Slack. And then if you have other questions that you want to have them be kept private just between us, you can submit them there and we can do what I call paid looms in response. Or you could do private sessions as well. Then I'm getting ready to launch the questions channel in Slack, where if you have a question and you're not sure where the question belongs, whether it belongs in the vault or in the office hours or as a private coaching or paid loom session, you just go ahead and post the question there and we can direct it where it needs to go. So you don't have to worry about thinking about it. You just ask your questions in the question channel. So I'm finalizing that this week. That should be out any day now. And you can
Awesome.
always email us at team@pronocoders.com and we can do it that way as well.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think this works pretty well. So I click here and I do choice 3, or if I click in here and I say, I want another choice, then that becomes a thing in the database. So now when they click here again, they will see it. I want another choice is down at the bottom.
Okay.
So this is working pretty well. It still needs a little help. And obviously I'm not a designer, so it needs to be made pretty as well. But if they just click in here and change the text, then it becomes whatever they choose. And then if they choose this, and we could put, like, if they accidentally errantly put something there that they don't like, then we can put in here an icon right here. And then we can just delete the thing. So I click here and I don't like this choice here because it's misspelled and I just, oh, it's a little hidden. There we go. And then it disappears off of the list. And then I can just disable that for the ones that are made by you. Right. So here I can put the conditional on this group. I can say when cells drop owner is empty. Oh, let's just do is current user, then this element is visible. And then just not make it visible on the other ones. So they can delete the ones that they make, but not the other ones.
Hey, Tonya.
Yep.
Sorry, I was just having a play with that as well. And in the, I don't know if this will work or not, but in the plugin for multi-select drop-downs, there's a new button that says enable users to type in and save new text. Does that work?
Yes, that's what we were looking for.
Ah, okay.
Yep, that's probably a much better solution. So
Yeah,
that
so
I already
that one.
have this one. So if I go to design and I go to multi-select instead. Here we go. And then the way that you would make this multi-select not allow more than one choice is I think you can say maximum items 1.
Yep.
So that'll limit it to 1. And then we can do our dynamic choices to drop down choice, not get an option. Do search for drop down choice and then current options name. And then where's the one that you're talking about?
There's a little checkbox that says, it says enable users to type new texts.
Maybe I have the wrong version of it in here. Multi-select. Nope. Did I have the right one? Or is it a different one?
Yeah, I think that's the right one. Let me get plugins and have a look. Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah, mine's giving me.
Have you updated your plugin, Tonya?
I just looked and it doesn't
Oh,
seem like it will allow me to update it.
oh, it's a bubble one. No, it won't.
Just above where you change the colors, mine's got an input that's, and I'm doing dynamic choices too, so I don't know why.
Hmm.
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, can you see that?
Yep.
So
And
yeah,
then enable users to type new texts, and then it doesn't show it on mine. Go to
and
the
then
plugins page. It looks like the same one. That's bizarre. But yours, yeah, that looks the same one. I'm not sure why I can't see it, but maybe Fabio, maybe you would see it.
I'm just trying to see if I've got another one here, but that looks like the only multi-select drop down I've got. Multi-file uploader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a.
Can you show us all the stuff you've got applied at the top? Like the, yeah. Oh, is it because
Yeah.
type of choices is text? Change that to drop
Oh,
down.
maybe that's what it is.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, maybe that was what it is. Because if I change this to type of choices to text.
Do you want to share?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. So when I say the type of choices is text, then it allows me to enable users to type new texts. But the
Callum for the win.
Yeah.
On
But
that
if-
triumphant note, I have to go. I'll see you guys all later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Let's see, Tila's coming in. All right, Fabio, I think that's the best I can do in office hours, but we've got a couple different choices, options for you. I'm not sure what saving like allowing them to save new dynamic choices and then making the type of choices text. Like, I'm not sure exactly the choices source I could do. Oh, I understand. So if I say search for choices and then I said each item's name, and then option caption would be current option.
I think it's just current option. I don't think you need anything else.
Yeah, because then it would be the text, right?
Yeah.
And then I could check here that enable users to type new texts.
Yeah.
And then I could come in here and then I don't know what happens when I type a new text. So I can say new. Oh, and then it just saves like that. Does that save in my database?
I think on a save of the form, you'd have to make a workflow to save it to the database.
Got it. That could work.
That's what, is that what you're trying to do, Friday?
Yeah, that seems right. So, I mean, it's kind of clunky because then you'd have to do the save button, and then the save would save the new choice to the database. Let's delete this new, and it also saves the new text when you click the space button, which is not ideal. So this would need some debugging as well.
Okay, well, thank you guys. I'll follow up via Slack if that's okay.
Yeah, of
I had
course.
a couple more questions for you, but I have to drop unfortunately, but thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Talk soon. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, don't go anywhere, anyone. We are wrapping up the office hours section of office hours. We're moving into after hours, which is members only. And what it is we turn off. Sorry, I muted myself. We turn off the live broadcast and sometimes the cameras come on and we just, we're not recording, and anything that is too private to share with the rest of the world can get shown, that sort of thing. But you have to be a member to join us. So if you would like to become part of the after hours section of the days and see what that's all about, you have to go sign up at pronocoders.com. And remember, that price is going up at the end of the year. So on January 1st, 2022, we're raising the price of office hours from $99 to $119. So if you would like to get locked in at the $99 per month rate, please go sign up today. We'll see you tomorrow, or sorry, we actually have another office hours session this evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I will see you then. Thanks everyone for tuning in.